Gentlemen, good morning. So yesterday we were able to tap into some of the various sins, right? And so what do we do with that? Remember that the goal, we always have to stay focused on the goal. And the goal is to hear them words, well done, good and faithful servant. The goal is to have more intimacy with God, to build our relationship with him. In thus doing so, we can be more effective as disciples, as ambassadors, as his representatives, as his ambassadors. So we identified some of them sins, the different categories of them. Again, disclaimer, no sin is more than the other. Sin is sin, and it all separates us from God. But so what do we do with that? In James 4:7, it tells us to resist the devil and he will flee. Resist these temptations and he will flee. And once we start identifying some of these sins, then it helps us to resist. Remember that the enemy comes to rob, kill, and destroy, but God comes to give life in abundance. And so, again, we understand that the enemy comes to rob, kill, and destroy. But when we begin to resist him and we begin to, one, recognize his traps, his schemes, the way that he moves. Remember that the devil he's been doing this for a long time. He got a lot of practice, and he's good at what he does. He knows how to ensnare us. He knows how to tempt us. He knows how to discourage us, and he has various different tactics, but how do we fight all that? We fight that by submitting to God. The first thing we do is we submit, not my will, Lord, but your will be done. And then two, the Bible says faith without works is dead. And so when we talk about resist, that's an action. That means that I'm going to fight this temptation. I'm going to resist the temptation. Do I want? I want to indulge in this, but I want God more. And because of that, man, I am going to resist. Why am I going to resist? Because God gave me a promise, and I believe that promise, and I'm going to hold on to that promise that God's given us. So how am I going to do this, right? I'm going to resist. How am I going to fight this good fight that God has been calling us to do? Remember, fellas, it's all about growth and development. Anytime that I come on here and I talk about anything, I want you to know, man, that it starts with me first. So I'm not, it's never a judgmental thing or jabs or anything of the sort. But how do we fight? What are some of the things that we use to fight? We've been in his word. That's why I emphasize his word so much. You got to spend time in his word. You got why? Because that way you know the heart of God, and he gives you instructions and guidance and direction. Dusty Bibles ain't good. You spend time in his word. We stay vigilant and alert, keep our eyes open, recognize what's happening around you, discern, and that comes through hearing the voice of God. That comes through intimacy with God, spending time with God. And then be intentional in drawing close to God. You have to do it. You have to do it. There's a protection in that, and there's a freedom in that. And this one, community, man, hanging out with the brothers, iron sharpens iron. It matters, and it's important in our walk. There's a reason why God created community. So you guys have an awesome day, man. Know that I love you guys. This journey is definitely an honor and a blessing, but with it comes responsibilities. And man, God chose us for a time like this, man. And when I sit back and I think about that, it's an awesome thing. God has been good to us. So we continue to grow and we continue to develop, and we're going to be men of God that God can use, not on the playground, but in the battlefield. And know without any doubt that we have been called for a time like this. God chose us. It wasn't by chance. It's not coincidence. God chose us. But his saving work inside of us is something that happens each and every day. Create in me a clean heart, and I will worship you. And so that's a process that we go through each and every day, striving today to be better than I was yesterday. And that process won't end until we reach paradise, man. The process continues. Stay encouraged, my brothers. Love you guys. God bless.